Well, today marks 6 months since Linda Yaccarino stepped in as CEO of X, formerly known as Twitter. The NBC Universal alum was brought in with the goal of restoring X's relationship with advertisers, a goal owner Elon Musk has made increasingly difficult to achieve. According to the New York Times, dozens of brands have paused campaigns on X after Musk endorsed anti-Semitic comments earlier this month. The company is estimated to lose as much as $75 million by year end as a result. With more, let's bring in Mark Douglas, CEO of advertising software company Mountain. Good to talk to you today. 75 million is where the New York Times puts it. How are you assessing the fallout here for X?
Well, I think the way to look at it is that first, we're talking about large brand advertisers. They don't use X as a primary platform. So they see X as kind of, quite frankly, the crumbs that are left over after they spend their big TV budget. So that's kind of the first big problem they have. And quite frankly, I mean, in some ways, Elon is right. He shouldn't be dependent on those advertisers. The advertisers that consistently spend big ad dollars spend them on Google and Meta, and X is just, those are big performance advertisers, direct response advertisers. They just don't see X as a primary platform either. So they have two big problems. The big brand advertisers they can't count on, and the performance advertisers can't count on X because the platform doesn't have the features that Google and Meta has. So it's a real issue.
So those major advertisers that left, what's the reason for them to come back?
I don't think
there's
any. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any reason for, kind of like a big CPG brand to be on X in the first place. I think what they're going to have to do is to attract users that performance advertisers want. You can't take a product like X, a social media product, and try to sell it to big advertisers that traditionally use television. It's just a fundamental mismatch. And I don't think those advertisers, let's put it this way, let me change it slightly. If they were driving measurable revenue from X, they wouldn't cut those budgets. But because they're not, those budgets were easy to cut. And so they're not going to come back to X, and X is going to have to find a new type of advertiser to grow their advertising revenue, or a whole new revenue source.
So if you're a Linda Yaccarino, I mean, after the commentary that we heard from Musk, I mean, we know that he put her in as CEO. She has all this advertising experience, but at the end of the day, it really starts and ends with Musk here. What sort of a job does she have here with advertisers?
Well, I think the first thing is they have to raise user engagement. They have to find users on X that the majority of direct response advertisers are interested in. Remember, a big TV network like a Disney has maybe 1,000, 2,000 advertisers. Meta has millions. Google has millions. It's the millions of small advertisers where the real money is for a social media product like X. And so they have to raise user engagement, have users really using the platform, and then have an ad product for those smaller advertisers. And then they won't have these kind of boycotts. They won't have these kind of issues. But it's a tall order. It's going to take, even if they were determined to do it, that's a 1 to 2 year effort to get done. So it's not an overnight thing.
And so, of course, advertisers have their use of social media, but also traditional television and, of course, streaming. So as we break that down, we know that Apple and Paramount are reportedly eyeing a deal to bundle their streaming platforms, according to the Wall Street Journal. What would this possible partnership mean as streamers really search for a path to profitability?
Well, I think for someone like Apple, they need to continue to broaden their audience also. They're competing against Netflix. They're competing against Disney Plus. The Netflix in particular just has a massive library of content. It's kind of like the first place you go when you want to watch television. And so for Apple to play in that game and continue to expand, they need to expand their library. And they've been doing it by creating original content, but I think it makes a ton of sense for them to start to license and buy content from Paramount, maybe from ABC, maybe from any sort, Bravo, any source where users are going to have more and more reasons to go to Apple Plus and to basically pay those subscription fees. I think you're going to see a lot more of that happening, either outright acquisitions or certainly lots of licensing deals.
In some ways, Mark, it's starting to feel like cable again, right?
Yeah, it's back to the
seeing all those brands coming together.
Yeah, it's
Mark
very
Douglas,
back to
Mountain CEO. Good to talk to you today. Appreciate the time.
Sure.